So here is Asia Live, and shortly we're going to be live with our correspondent in New Delhi. First, though, they will look at me with disgust in their eyes. That's the view of a woman in India who has AIDS. Now, Sunday was World AIDS Day, a day to recognise the problem and, in theory, help those affected. And yet, in India, it is still a disease considered shameful. That's despite India having the world's third largest population of AIDS patients after South Africa and Nigeria. Well, our team in India has discovered an extensive programme to ensure those affected have the drugs they need, but also widespread discrimination, even in hospitals themselves.
For years, she has been hiding her illness from her family and neighbours. Only her husband knows that she has AIDS. She does not want to reveal her identity.
If somebody learns that I have the disease, the news will spread like wildfire. They'll look at me with disgust in their eyes.
In India, AIDS is still considered a shameful disease, and many people believe that it only affects sex workers, homosexuals, and drug addicts. She contracted the disease through a blood transfusion 6 years ago.
I can forget to eat, I can forget to sleep, but I never forget my medication.
Many HIV-positive patients in India have access to free anti-retroviral drugs. But within the walls of hospitals, they are not welcome. 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with kidney stones. When the doctors learnt that she was HIV positive, they refused to treat her.
I told the doctor, I have very bad pain, give me something. But he said, shut up, don't come near me. Turn your face to the wall. I wanted to die. What's the point of living if I'm going to be treated like this?
Deeply angered by the discrimination, she filed a formal complaint which is still pending before a court. We went with a hidden camera to a large hospital in Delhi under the guise of seeking treatment for an HIV-positive patient.
तो उसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है जैसे कि यहाँ तो मूलचंद एक वन ऑफ द
अलग सा मशीन होता है ना हमारे पास भी है नहीं तो सब नेगेटिव होता अगर एचआईवी को लिया तो फिर वो मशीन में दूसरे पेशेंट को ले नहीं सकता.
Public hospitals in India have a legal obligation to treat all patients fairly. VIJAY SINGH is part of a support group run by an organization that helps HIV-positive patients. These HIV-positive patients have gathered here today to talk about the discrimination they face in their daily lives.
मैं अंदर से बहुत रो रहा था. मुझे बहुत बुरी फीलिंग आ रही थी कि मेरे भैया ने वो भी एक डॉक्टर है इतने बड़े उन्होंने मेरे साथ ऐसा बिहेव किया मेरे साथ में.
Obviously, doctors know how AIDS is transmitted, but they still believe that if they treat an HIV-positive patient, they will somehow contract the disease. The disease is stronger than them. So they refuse support to HIV-positive patients by delaying treatment.
Over 2 million HIV-positive people live in shame in a country that produces over 80% of all anti-retroviral drugs used in the world.
Yeah, fascinating report there from India. Well, our correspondent Mandakini Gallo joining us now from New Delhi. Mandakini, firstly, a big election there in New Delhi this week, isn't there?
Will be on the capital in New Delhi as approximately 10 million people gear up to vote to elect the city's next government on Wednesday. Now, this is very much a small regional election in a sense, but it's being keenly watched across the country because the election in Delhi, combined with elections in a few other key states, will provide insights into what's likely to happen in the country's general election scheduled to be held sometime in 2014. Now, at the heart of this election is the issue of corruption. The incumbent, who's from India's grand old party, the Congress party, has been in power for the last 15 years. And her government, both at the state and the center, has been dogged by a string of controversial corruption scandals. Also in the fray is an exciting new challenger, the Aam Aadmi Party, or the Common Man's Party, which is just a year old, but is already threatening to unsettle the established political order. So it remains to be seen whether running on an anti-corruption platform will yield any votes for the Aam Aadmi Party, or whether the Congress will get re-elected for a fourth consecutive term. And also in the running, of course, is the Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party.
And also there, Mandakini, over the weekend, one of India's most influential journalists arrested by the police in Goa on charges of sexually molesting a fellow journalist. Is that right?
That's right. In fact, Mr. Tarun Tejpal has been arrested on charges of raping a colleague. He's been taken into custody for 6 days, where police will interrogate him about what really happened on the nights of November 7th and 8th in Goa. Now, let's keep in mind that Mr. Tejpal was, till he stepped down recently, one of the most influential journalists in the country. His magazine, Tehelka, has been a pioneer in the field of investigative reporting. In 2001, they conducted an 8-month-long investigation that revealed that senior politicians in the country were accepting bribes in order to push through a fake arms deal. Now, that story came to be known as India's Watergate. Now, Tehelka magazine, along with the rest of the media, of course, was also sort of a crusader when it came to last year's gang rape and pushing for new, sterner laws. Now that Mr. Tejpal is being charged under those new laws, his legal team has said that the law is too draconian. So really, it's the disparity between Tehelka's principled approach on the one hand and Mr. Tejpal's personal conduct on the other, combined with the current climate in the country of zero tolerance for crimes against women, is what's ensured that the story is dominating national headlines.
I can imagine. Mandakini, thanks very much, Mandakini Gallo. No doubt continuing to follow that story for us as well here on France 24. That was today's Asia Live. Well, that's all for me for now. I'm going to have another edition, of course, of Live from Paris in an hour's time. But after the break, though, Jade's going to be here shortly. She's going to be talking, in fact, to Gulliver Cragg, our correspondent in Kiev, as protesters vow to continue their anti-government protests. That's Jade talking to Gulliver after the break here on France 24, so don't go away.